Thing you want to do is peel it just like that. This is where the stringy part of the rhubarb is, and you want to eliminate that stringy part. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut it into small pieces, and you're cutting against the grain. What's going to happen is if you let it simmer long enough, those pieces are just going to almost like dissolve into the water. In this case, I'm using sweet seedless grapes, and I'm cutting them into halves and quarters. And I'm going to do that over the pan so that all the juices also drip into the pan. I just cut some here on the stovetop for you to consider. And you can use any sweet fruit. Tiny bit of cinnamon in there. And we're going to let that simmer on the stove at a very low temperature. It's 10 o'clock now, so this will be a dessert for lunch today. Finishing up this video production, here is a tip for rhubarb growers. Right here is a rhubarb that's in nearly full sun all day, and this is where I got the early rhubarb, the ones that just came out of the ground. I started eating stalks of this one, but now because it's in full sunlight, it's the oxalic acid in it is getting quite strong, and the stalks are getting pretty tough. Whereas right next door, this rhubarb is in mostly shade, and the stalks are still sweet without a lot of oxalic acid, and they're very tender, very easy to pull off. Matter of fact, they break apart very easily. You can't even pull the whole stalk off. And here is the plant I got those stalks from. It is growing in dense shade alongside the wooden fence. The fence is on the south side of the property, the sun side, and it does get a little bit of sunlight on the tips of the leaves out here, but the leaves next to the fence get zero sunlight. And are these stalks tender? I couldn't even pull the whole stalk out. Some of them broke into 2 or 3 pieces. Because you know what you're supposed to do is grab the stalk and like gently pull on it like this back and forth, and then it'll pull out right down there by the root system. But this one wouldn't allow me to do that. That's how tender it is, and that's because it's in full shade. And I know this plant is here, and I haven't harvested anything from it yet this year. Now it's getting to be close to summer solstice, and all the other plants are toughening up other than the other ones that are in the shade. And the reason why I noticed this is because the leaves were beginning to cover over this graft. So I uncovered the graft at the same time, got myself a succulent rhubarb stalk, or at least a whole handful of them. Now I'm gonna eat them. Thanks for watching. One more thing I added, I went out and took a video of the plant that I got the stalks from, and I had some spearmint out there. Let's have some spearmint flavor in our dessert.